Hey, Miss Solomon's class. My name is Mrs. Adams, and I teach reading intervention and math intervention at Gilbert Elementary School. And I'm just going to be a guest reader for you today. And I'm going to share with you one of my very, very favorite back to school read alouds. This picture book is called Those Shoes, and it's by Mary Beth Bolts, and it's so good. Can't wait for you to see it. As we're reading today, I want you to be thinking about what if you were in this main character, Jeremy's situation. So let's get started. Maybe. Let me get the settings all set. Okay, here we go. Those shoes. I have dreams about those shoes. Black high tops, 2 white stripes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want around here. Just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Brandon T. comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall real slow. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. Then one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfrey, the guidance counselor, says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size. Velcro. Like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon I don't think any kid ever watched. When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs. And so do Terrence, Brandon T., and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry over any dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes. And my grip is so tight on my pencil, I think it might bust. On Saturday, Grandma says, "Let's check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I've got a little bit of money set aside. It might be enough. You never know." At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. "Maybe they wrote it down wrong," I say. Grandma shakes her head. I'm going to pause right there for a minute. Anytime somebody sits down heavy and shakes their head, you can guess that they're probably not excited about how much those shoes cost. Probably really expensive. Look at the way he's looking at his grandma. You can tell that something's up. Like she might not have enough money for those shoes right now. And I can relate to that. That was how I grew up too. I didn't always get the shoes that I wanted and the clothes that I wanted. I had to get what I needed. Let's keep reading. Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoes except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. Okay, if your brain's not thinking right now, that Jeremy is seeing the shoes that he wants, then you need to make sure you're with us right now, because we know about stories, especially now that you're older. You know that stories lead up. They build until you get to this one big point of the story, right? So we know that he's had, and a lot of times things come in threes. So it's like the first thrift shop, no. The second thrift shop, no. And then he sees something in the window. So your brain should be like, oh, I know what it is. Black shoes with 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape, $2.50. Those shoes. My heart is pounding so hard as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks. How exciting, Grandma says. What size are they? Now, if you're like me and you know about stories and you know that something is up in stories, there's usually a problem, you might be looking at this picture right here, and you might be hearing in your head, dun, 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 like something is about to go wrong. What size are they? I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. I don't know, but I think they fit. Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of the shoe. Oh, Jeremy, she says, I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit. I pull the other shoe on and try to walk around. They're okay, I say, holding my breath and praying that my toes will fall off right then and there. But my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money, and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. He's like, ugh. At home a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my 2 big feet shuffling around in my 2 small shoes. Sometimes shoes stretch, I say. Grandma gives me a hug. Oh, wait, I'm going to back up a little bit. Look at his feet. Can y'all see that? I wish I could zoom in. He got Band-Aids all over his feet. Those shoes aren't going to stretch and fit him. Come on, Jeremy. Grandma gives me a hug. I check every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfreys to school instead. One day during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. One of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Can y'all see Jeremy way back there in the back? He's back there thinking. Antonio was there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoe smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think, I'm not going to do it. We leap off the swings. I think, I'm not going to do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not going to do it, I say. Do what? Antonio says, breathing hard. Like, what are you talking about? Do what? That's kind of what he's thinking. Like, you're crazy, man. Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. That night, I'm awake for a long time thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face, and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfrey's shoes. But then, at recess, something happens. Everywhere, there's snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall? That's when I remember what I have in my backpack. New boots, new black boots that no kid has ever worn before. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race. At the end of that story, I feel like clapping and being happy because, it really shows you a lot about friendship and a lot about wanting things that other people have. Maybe you can't have it for whatever reason. Maybe you can't find any shoes in your size that everybody has, or maybe Jeremy, it's just hard to get things that you want when you have to buy things that you need. So there's a lot of things in the story that you can make a connection to. And maybe this got you thinking about the kindness of sharing what you have with others. Maybe it got you thinking about your family. Maybe it got you thinking about your friends. Maybe you're thinking about what would you do in that situation if you were Jeremy and you wanted something that everybody had. Maybe you have the things that you need and that you want. And you can think about what you would do if somebody around you was the only person not wearing the same thing as everybody. So there's a lot to think about, and there's a lot to talk about as school's starting and as you're thinking about making new friends, even virtual friends that you might not see all the time, and really just getting back into being kind to others and being kind to yourself and to your family. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you to Miss Alleman's class for letting me come and read to you. Have a great day. Can't believe we're back at school. Yeah!